I never thought I'd be the person posting something like this, but I honestly don't know who else to talk to. I have been married to my husband Mike for 4 years now. We dated for 3 years before getting married, so we've been together for 7 years total. Last weekend, my sister Jen broke up with her boyfriend of 2 years. She showed up at my door around midnight, completely drunk and crying. I got her settled on our couch while Mike made coffee, trying to sober her up. He went to bed around 1 a.m., leaving me to deal with my emotional sister. As the night went on, Jen started talking about how she always picks the wrong guys and never finds someone who puts her first. Nothing unusual there, typical drunk breakup talk. But then she said something that made my blood run cold. I should have fought harder for Mike when I had the chance. Before you two got serious. I froze, asking her what she meant by that. In her drunken state, she didn't seem to realize what she was revealing. She started rambling about how she and Mike had connected right before he met me, how they had gone out a couple times and kissed, how even after he started dating me, they had a moment when I was out of town visiting our grandma. We kissed again, she slurred, even though he was with you. It was wrong, but there was just this thing between us, you know? She must have noticed my face then, because she suddenly stopped talking and looked horrified. She tried to backtrack, saying she was just drunk and talking nonsense, but I could tell from her reaction that she'd accidentally revealed something very real. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I managed to get Jen to drink some water and fall asleep on the couch, but I just sat there in the dark, my mind racing. Eventually, I went to our bedroom where Mike was sleeping peacefully. I stood in the doorway looking at him, wondering how many other secrets he might be keeping from me. Mike and I have what I always thought was a good marriage. We have our issues like any couple, but nothing major. We've been talking about starting a family soon, but now I can't look at him without wondering what else he might be hiding. And Jen, she's my sister, my best friend. We talk almost every day. She was my maid of honor at my wedding, for God's sake. The thought that she betrayed me like this and has kept it secret all these years makes me physically sick. I haven't confronted Mike yet, and I haven't had a real conversation with Jen about it either. She was too drunk to have a proper discussion that night, and she was gone before I woke up the next morning. She left a text saying she was embarrassed about getting so drunk and needed some space. I'm sure she remembers what she revealed and is avoiding me now. With Mike, I've been pretending everything's normal, though I can tell he senses something's off. Part of me wants to explode and demand answers, but another part is terrified of what those answers might be. If this happened at the beginning of our relationship, has anything happened since? They've always seemed comfortable around each other, which I took as a good sign. Now I'm analyzing every interaction they've ever had. I've barely slept in the past 3 days. Mike keeps asking what's wrong, but I keep making excuses about work stress. I don't know what to do. Do I confront them? Do I try to find more evidence first? Do I just try to forget what I heard? If it was just a brief thing at the very beginning of our relationship, before things were serious, maybe I could understand. People make mistakes. But the secrecy for all these years is what's killing me. The fact that both of them have looked me in the eye every day knowing what they did. Has anyone dealt with a roommate who had a secret side business? How did you handle it? Should I be concerned that she might be involved in something more serious than just unlocking phones? First, thank you for all the comments and support. I was overwhelmed by how many people shared their own stories and advice. It really helped me figure out what to do. A lot has happened since my post. After a few days of avoiding each other, I finally met with Jen for coffee. I was nervous but determined to get the full story. When she sat down, I could tell she knew why I'd asked to meet. She looked exhausted and anxious, avoiding eye contact while she fiddled with her coffee cup. After an awkward minute of small talk about her breakup, I decided to just address the elephant in the room. Jen, we need to talk about what you said the other night when you were drunk. She looked down and bit her lip nervously. I was hoping you wouldn't remember that part. I remember every word, I said. You talked about you and Mike, about kissing him when we were already together. She finally looked up at me, her eyes already tearing up. I'm so sorry. What followed was probably the most difficult conversation I've ever had. According to Jen, she and Mike met at a party about 2 weeks before he and I started dating. They flirted and exchanged numbers. They went on one coffee date before he met me. When he and I started dating, she says she backed off completely. But then she ran into him at a bar while I was out of town visiting our grandma, about 2 months into my relationship with Mike. They had both been drinking, ended up talking all night, and kissed. She said they both immediately regretted it and agreed it couldn't happen again. But it did happen again. Once more, about 3 months later, they ran into each other, this time sober, and ended up talking for hours. She said there had always been a strong connection between them, but they both knew it was wrong. They kissed again that night, and then Mike ended things completely, telling her he was serious about me and couldn't keep doing this. Jen was crying as she told me all this. She said she wanted to tell me so many times over the years, especially before the wedding, but she was terrified of losing me. She said as time passed, it seemed less and less relevant, just a stupid mistake from the past. I asked her the question that's been haunting me. Has anything happened between you two since then? She looked me straight in the eyes and said, absolutely nothing. Not even close. It's been completely over since that day. I believe her. Jen's never been a good liar, and I could see the genuine remorse and fear in her eyes. But that doesn't make this hurt any less. After talking with Jen, I spent a few days thinking about how to approach Mike. I finally confronted him 2 nights ago. After dinner, I asked him to sit down because we needed to talk. His face showed he knew this was serious. I took a deep breath and said, the night Jen was drunk at our house, she told me about what happened between you two when we first started dating. His reaction said everything. He didn't ask what I was talking about or try to play dumb. He just closed his eyes for a moment and exhaled slowly. When he opened them, I could see the fear and regret. I'm so sorry, he said quietly. I should have told you years ago. What followed was a long, painful conversation. His story matched Jen's almost exactly, which I guess is somewhat reassuring. He said he met Jen first, they had a brief connection, but then he met me and fell for me immediately. The 2 incidents happened just like Jen described, and he ended things completely after the second time. I asked him why he never told me, especially before we got married. He said he was terrified of losing me, and as time passed, it seemed less important to bring up. He kept convincing himself it wasn't relevant anymore. It was just a mistake from the very beginning of our relationship. When I asked if anything had ever happened with Jen since then, he was very clear that nothing had. He said he's felt guilty about it for years, especially around Jen, but they both silently agreed to never speak of it again. I asked the hardest question. Have you ever cheated on me with anyone else? He looked me straight in the eyes and said, no, never. He said what happened with Jen taught him how much he could hurt someone he loves, and he's never made that mistake again. I told him I needed some space and went to stay with my friend Kate for a few days. Mike was devastated, but said he understands and will give me whatever time I need. I still haven't spoken to my parents about any of this. Mike, Jen, and I all agreed there's no reason to involve them. Some secrets are better kept, especially ones that would only cause pain with no real benefit. So that's where I am now, trying to figure out if I can move past this. I love Mike, and I believe him when he says nothing has happened since. But the trust has been broken, and I'm not sure how to rebuild it. And my relationship with Jen may never be the same again. If there's anything I've learned from this whole mess, it's that secrets have a way of coming out eventually, no matter how deeply they're buried. Here is my final update. It's been 3 months since I discovered my husband and sister's past, and I wanted to give a final update for those who've been following my story. After spending a week at Kate's place, I moved back home to work on things with Mike. We started couples therapy, which has been tough but helpful. Our therapist pointed out that while I have every right to be hurt, holding on to this anger might do more damage to our relationship than the original betrayal. She's been helping us rebuild trust and communicate better. As for Jen, that's been harder. She's my sister and best friend, but this cut deep. We've had several long, painful conversations where I told her exactly how betrayed I feel. She's been patient and understanding, giving me the space I need while also making it clear she wants to repair our relationship. Mike and Jen haven't seen each other much since all this came out. Family gatherings have been awkward, but we're all making an effort to be civil. My parents have noticed the tension, but don't know the cause, and we're keeping it that way. 2 weeks ago, I found out I'm pregnant. It wasn't planned. We had actually put our family plans on hold while working through everything. But sometimes life surprises you. After the initial shock wore off, we're both excited. Mike broke down crying when I told him, saying he doesn't deserve this second chance but will spend the rest of his life making it up to me. The pregnancy has forced us to look forward instead of backward. There are still days when I think about what happened and feel that twist of pain, but they're becoming less frequent. I've decided that I won't let something that happened 8 years ago, before we were even serious, destroy the life and family we've built. As for forgiveness, I'm not quite there yet with either of them, but I'm working on it. The therapist says forgiveness is a process, not an event. It takes time, and that's okay. I don't know if things will ever go back to how they were before, especially between me and Jen. But maybe they shouldn't. Maybe we're building something different now, relationships based on difficult truths rather than comfortable lies. If there's anything I've learned from all this, it's that relationships aren't defined by our mistakes, but by how we handle them, how we grow from them, and how we choose to move forward. Thank you to everyone who supported me through this journey. Your kindness to a stranger on the internet has meant more than you'll ever know.